We have come through now the first 24 hours of the statewide energy crisis, and I think we're doing well. Most people are at home, and every indication is our homes will stay warm through the weekend cold wave.
This evening we'll have a full wrap-up on today's blizzard, the problems that it has caused, and we'll have a list of closings, schools, businesses, and much more. Fred McLeod in for Jim Mueller this evening says the weather has won out over the Cavs, and Dick is here to talk about the weather. There is, of course, a lot of it.
Emmy Award-winning City Camera News is next with these stories and a report tonight from Neil Zerker live with the City Cam in Westlake. We are Television 8 WJW-TV Cleveland. From Television 8 in Cleveland, this is City Camera News with Jeff Maynard, Jim Hale, Dick Goddard, and Fred McLeod for Jim Mueller.
Good evening, everybody. Or is it? I hope you are someplace right now that is safe and that is warm. The weather we have gone through since early this morning and will continue to experience throughout the weekend in northern Ohio is the worst weather that most of us will ever see. It is by far the most severe winter of this century. The blizzard hit right at the rush hour this morning. The bitterly cold wind whipped in at more than 50 miles an hour. Several inches of snow came along with it. And the 24-degree temperature at 9 a.m. had dropped by noon to a -2. As commuters quickly found out, driving was an absolute nightmare today. At times, visibility was non-existent, and one could count the stalled cars and the accidents by the thousands. The governor alerted the National Guard. Many units right now are at work. The shoreway was closed for a time. Part of it still is. A blizzard warning remains in effect, and for the hours ahead, there's going to be very little change in our weather situation. If you are someplace safe and warm, stay there. If you must venture out, again, be warned that the conditions are as bad in the northern Ohio area as they will ever be. State officials are keeping very close tabs on what's going on. Jeff, there was another call today from the governor.
This morning, the governor asked all non-essential businesses and offices in the state to close at noon or sooner and to let their employees start on the way home. So some people who had struggled for hours through the morning rush got to work and turned right back around again and headed home. The governor's request had the effect of staggering the times of homeward commuting, so this afternoon we did not see quite the monumental jam-ups that had happened in the morning. And many factories, the gas cutbacks already crimping their production, closed early for the weekend today. This was the scene at TRW in Euclid. And some factories dismissed their employees at staggered times to help keep the traffic moving.
As always, the eastern part of Greater Cleveland, the snow belt, was hard hit today. Our City Cam team spent part of this memorable day out in the area of Route 306 around Mentor, Kirtland, Willoughby Hills, and Waite Hill. And the video here pretty much tells the story. Although no National Guard units are on rescue missions in our area, they are in other parts of the state. The men are using bulldozers and graders to free cars and trucks and to clear roads that are completely impassable. There's always the danger of those installed cars running out of gasoline, and that means heat, and that's what the National Guard is working to prevent. Some communities have water problems this evening, too, and here, too, the Ohio Guard is at work.
And as you would imagine, some people have made it to the warmth and relative security of their homes, but not in their own cars. 5 cars are marooned here in more than 5 feet of snow. 2 tow trucks tried for several hours to get the cars out of here, but finally gave up, and the owners are going to have to come back and try again. These drivers were lucky. There were people around to help then, but that will not. Again, be sure you have a full tank of gas in case you're stranded and have to wait for help. Kathy Engel and Donna Gross are 2 young women who work in downtown offices. They set out for work this morning, but they didn't make it. And they had to leave their car at the front end of that terrible shoreway traffic jam.
We were coming down the freeway and the blizzard started and we couldn't see a thing. And so we got behind this bus because we figured the bus would get down here, but it didn't either. So it got stuck and then we got stuck and everything was all jammed up. And then the tow truck got stuck when it was trying to pull us out, and then we jammed up the whole freeway and we started the whole thing.
Where's the car now?
I don't know. I just saw a tow truck taking it. I don't know where they took it to, though. I think they took it over to the marina over there.
Kathy and Donna are in good spirits considering they were stranded on the freeway for 5 hours. Then they made it here to the Howard Johnson's at the Shoreway in East 55th, where they played pool and kept warm until some friends came to take them home.
Well, in addition to travelers stuck by stalled cars, those trying to get out of Cleveland by air today found it no-go. Hopkins Airport closed shortly after 11 this morning, but effectively had been closed long before that. United, Air Canada, American, and Northwest have all canceled flights through the early part of this evening. Some incoming planes have landed, but getting out is another matter. The wind-blown snow is the problem, we're told. As soon as a runway, a taxiway, or a ramp is cleared, it's almost immediately covered again.
Well, Dick told us last night that the weekend was shaping up as the toughest 3 days of the winter, and it certainly started out that way. Right now, Dick is out in it with the latest word on what's headed this way. Dick?
Many of the ski areas in Ohio, I understand, are closed. It's too cold.
Okay, Dick will be back inside in a few minutes, and he'll have more on the weather. For those outside, the biggest problem generally is always the condition of roadways. As we said, the Shoreway was closed for a time today, and driving from anywhere to anywhere else this Friday has been almost an impossible thing to do. City Camera's assignment editor Bob Sermonera has been keeping close to the road situation, and from the newsroom he has this update. Bob?
Jim, I-90 westbound is open, but it's snow-covered and hazardous. Westbound I-90 is closed from East 77th Street. The new part of I-90 west through Rocky River and Westlake is also open, but police out there tell me it's snow-covered and hazardous driving. I-71 and I-77 are passable, but police say they are also snow-covered and driving there is treacherous. Brook Park Road is closed from Rocky River driving west. Downtown streets are passable.
And again, if you don't have to drive tonight, please don't. If you do, do so with extreme caution. Coming up, we've got more on the weather story. We'll look at the crisis energy situation in the state.
And we're going to check in on local emergency planning. Just in case the extreme cold of this weekend puts a strain on home heating that cannot be met. Now, it's important that you not be unduly alarmed by preparations that are just emergency precautions at this time. The gas companies say they expect to have plenty of gas for residential customers, but local officials quite properly are making contingency plans in case some people do need shelter this weekend. Neil Zerker and our CityCam crew are standing by right now in Westlake, which is one of these communities.
Well, Jeff, what I'm doing is I'm standing in the middle of what is council chambers out here, where it would be a very busy place tomorrow if anything does happen here, if the worst should happen. I have Mayor Alexander Roman with me. Mayor Roman, just what preparations have you taken in town here?
What we have done, Neil, is to contact the various police departments and the various departments in the city of Westlake and the city of Bay Village to alert them that there may be a crisis tomorrow morning if Columbia Gas finds that the pressure is low, that there could be a complete city shut off.
As indicated, there apparently have been some rumors, some reports that natural gas would either run out or be shut off entirely to homes in some communities. And that is just not true, even though the shelter centers have been set up on a standby basis, for instance, there in Westlake. It would appear, Bob, that there have been in some of the communities a bit of overreaction.
I was talking to an official from Columbia Gas, and he said, frankly, to me that some of the rumors are being caused by people and sometimes officials panicking. The statement from Columbia is there is no indication that any community in the Columbia area is in any danger of losing residential service. The Columbia spokesman said they don't anticipate losing any residential service. The only reason for the contingency plans is that, quote, they've never had weather like this before.
That they are not caught by surprise. Utilities have dispatching centers around the state, and the dispatchers in these dispatching centers know their system and watch the pressures at the major regulating stations. These pressures are
The Cavaliers game at Buffalo wiped out tonight, and it appears the worst of the blizzard now is in that Buffalo-Niagara Falls area. They've had literally a white hurricane at Niagara Falls, winds at 75 miles an hour and very heavy snow. That is part of the front that is continuing to move on towards the Atlantic coast. We keep looking at the winds aloft, hoping that there will be a shifting pattern. Now, this is how they will shape up going into Monday. It certainly does not suggest any great breakout. Simply the air mass that comes down over us now is going to be moderating with some sunshine coming through. But based on this, there seems little hope we could have any temperature even near 20 by perhaps Wednesday of next week. Satellite today. picking up the very heavy snow plus cloud cover here. This was at 1 o'clock today. The only sunshine of any consequence seemed to be out here. Very warm in Florida today. They're around 80 degrees now. They will be cut off tomorrow as this cold front zips right on through that state. The huge high, as I mentioned earlier in the program, that is right out of the North Pole area. We've had a couple chunks break off. This is a small section of another large high that is north of the border. Here's the storm center that earlier today moved just to the north of Ohio. The heavier snow was right ahead of that front now. I indicate we could have light snow off and on, but no big problem I feel in new snow coming down. It is simply the blowing and the gusty winds revolving around this deep low-pressure storm center. Temperatures in the minus category all over this part of the United States, and as you see, the big chill is underway down deep in the south. In Ohio now, we have all minus readings except for deep in the south and southeast. Currently at Hopkins Airport, we have a -6. Mansfield had been running -10 all afternoon. They've climbed 1. And as you see, read 'em and weep. We've got snow flurries mixed in with those very strong winds still out of the west. 26 and -6 now for Cleveland today. 34-16 a year ago. Sunrise 740, sundown 542 tomorrow. And we have a pollution count very low at 83. And we have a -2 on the shoreway. Humidity 70%, barometer 2964, rising. Winds west now, 20 to 40, and gusty tonight with a wind chill now about 50 below zero. Blustery, some snow, -5 to -15 overnight. A variable sky, some sunshine, but frigid, windy, some snow again tomorrow. 5 above with a wind chill of -30. Variable skies, frigid, a few flurries, and 10 above for Sunday. We'll have more after this.
A savage snowstorm pushed by Arctic winds moved eastward today from the Plain States to New England and south into Virginia and West Virginia. Thousands of industries and schools in the storm area already have been paralyzed by weeks of cold and a natural gas shortage. The president's energy advisor warned today that some homes may soon be cut off from gas supplies. Our coverage of the weather and fuel crisis begins with Don Webster in Ohio.
There were blizzard conditions today in much of the Midwest. Snow blown by high winds, adding to all the other problems. Because of the crisis, Governor James Rhodes this morning asked that virtually everything in Ohio shut down at noon today. Stores, all industries, the few schools still open. That brought a rush of shoppers hurrying through the cold to stores which were also chilly, stocking up on goods. Some stores announced they won't open again until Tuesday at the earliest. The weekend outlook is very bleak.
Our forecast for the next few days is the worst blast of Arctic weather that we've experienced so far this winter.
What are the worst areas going to be?
We expect the primary areas to be hit to be Pennsylvania, Ohio, and the surrounding areas will have near-record temperatures, particularly during Sunday and Monday. It's very, very critical. We intend and we believe we can serve residential customers, but it requires a great deal of cooperation from residential customers and everyone else.
With dwindling fuel supplies and severe weather warnings, it is clear that for all practical purposes, there's only enough gas available for the next several days to service residential customers, human needs, and property protection.
There were a variety of appeals to homeowners. This weekend, turn down the thermostat as low as possible. If you have a fireplace, burn wood. If there's a danger of water pipes freezing, shut off the water and drain the taps. It isn't only natural gas which is a problem. Oil spokesmen are also issuing dire warnings.
I'm here to tell you today that Ohio is experiencing the tip of the shortage iceberg. And I want to tell you, if you think this year is bad, I want you to know that it's going to be worse in the years to come, even if the weather is somewhat better.
Governor Rhodes also placed the National Guard on standby alert to be available for emergencies. Don Webster, CBS News, Columbus, Ohio.
The Buffalo area has been fighting a continuous blizzard for 3 days. People in some cases just hanging on, trying to keep from being blown away. Hundreds of cars are stranded where they were stopped. Local authorities are trying to set up centers for people who can't get home, and the state has ordered the National Guard in to help out. In Pittsburgh, the temperature dropped 20 to 30 degrees in a few hours when the cold front came in from the west. Thousands were let out of work early to conserve heating fuel and to give them more time to battle their way home. Most industry here has been shut down for 2 weeks, and now the shortage of natural gas is hitting all along the Northeast Industrial Corridor. Authorities estimate that hundreds of thousands of workers have been laid off in Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, and other parts of the Northeast because of cutbacks in natural gas. This GM plant in New Jersey was one of the latest to close down today. Some workers will get compensation, others will not. In New York City, the temperature this afternoon soared into the low 40s. The temperate lull before the winter storm hits here tonight and drops the thermometer down towards zero. David Culhane, CBS News, New York.
In West Virginia, Governor Jay Rockefeller asked the public not to travel and to establish a buddy system so that no shut-ins will be without help during the storm.